All right, magic makers. So over the last few weeks, I've been getting a lot of questions. And whenever I get a lot of questions, it is a sign that I should do a podcast episode on it because if someone's thinking it, you're probably thinking it too. So today I want to talk about some of the rabbit holes that I see clients I see get questions about in my DMs. And so this is for you if you're really ready to step up to your health, really feel more confident in your skin. And I know exactly how that feels because, probably like 6 months ago, I just wasn't feeling really good in my skin. I just looked in the mirror and I just was not happy with how I looked. And, I've started on this process of, my maintenance project that I'm probably about a few weeks away from giving you some updates on where that stands. But that's what the impetus of that maintenance project started. It's like I needed to do something different. And if you're listening to this and you're like, "Ah, I feel the same way. Like I don't like the way I look in the mirror. I don't like the way my clothes are fitting, and I feel like whatever I'm doing ain't working no more." This is the episode for you. Because if we're tackling that topic of like 5 things that you need to ditch if you are serious about changing the composition of your body. I am not talking about stepping on the scale and losing 10 pounds in 10 weeks. That's not what I'm talking about. And that's one of the biggest things that I'll kick it off, right? This is my own little like I'm on my soapbox. I'm probably gonna be on my soapbox for the next 20 minutes. But on my soapbox, that one of the things that I really, really, really want us ladies over 40 to stop doing, like right now, just stop doing, is that extend the timeline for how long you think your goal is going to take. We are no longer in the age of 6 weeks to a tighter tush. That doesn't happen anymore. This one came up because I was having a conversation with a woman and she's like, yeah, I think in 6 weeks I'll be good. I'm going to tell you, like, this is not what you want to hear. You're not going to be good in 6 weeks unless you are that special snowflake. And I have not met that special snowflake because this is what I see. By the time 6 weeks rolls around, you're just starting to like get into the swing of doing something new. When you're over 40, you've been on 5 million fucking diets and you are still programmed. And it takes me about 12 weeks to deprogram you. And so by the time I deprogram you, then the work could start. And so if you're someone who's never been on a diet, yeah, probably in 6 weeks, I could easily deprogram you from all the bullshit we've absorbed over the years. And I also talk about this from my own perspective. I remember it's been a long time since I worked with a health and fitness coach. And the first time I started working with one after years of not working with one, and yes, I am one, it was like things she was saying to me, like I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I gotta get my feet underneath me. It's gonna take me a little time to shift my mindset from how I'm thinking about things to how I need to do things now. And I am not that person who like just jumps into the deep end with a rock when it comes to health and fitness. I am a creature of fucking habit. And I had a lot of really, really entrenched habits that it took me 12 weeks to get rid of some of those entrenched habits to start to really implement some of the tools that really has moved the needle for me. So I want us to ditch the idea of 6 weeks to that, quick fixes, overnight transformations, and instead of setting these rigid deadlines, give ourselves the patience, the flexibility, the time that it's going to take if I really want dieting to go away. And that's where I am right now. I am no longer here for you if you want to diet. I said it, put the stake in the ground. If you are someone who is like, Kim, I want to, can't hand me a meal plan, hand me a diet, I'm not for you. I have said it. Yes, I put my stake in the ground. I am here for you if you are like, I need to understand my fucking process. I need to finally stop dieting. I need to break free of all of the programming that I've heard. Then I'm here for you. Let's create a space where we got sustainable, long lasting change. And it's not about how quick you get to the finish line, right? I want you to think about, I know everyone says a marathon, but not a sprint. There's a reason why sprinters are built different. Sprinters are like in and they're out. They're gassed. And that's what a bad diet does for you. You are so gassed. You're so burnt out. You white knuckled it. You've given up things. You've, broken relationships for what? For 6 weeks of what? How long did that last? And every time I kind of see myself falling down the victim of this fast pace, I always remind myself of the same. How I get to my goal is how I keep my goal. And I am someone who I'm done with the like reading a manual to decide how to eat. I'm the person who's done having to Google the closest gym when I'm on vacation. That is not what I'm about. I'm no longer about how I can adapt my life to my workout and my food. I am the other way around, right? So remember, be kind to yourself. Celebrate every little baby step forward and trust that you are exactly where you need to be. My word this year that is reimagine, right? Reimagine how things can be. And with reimagination requires you to have two things: curiosity and courage, right? Because if I am not being curious of, is there another way? I'm always going to be like, this is the way, even though it sucks. I have to suck it up. And that I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. I want you to have the curiosity to be like, is there another way? Is there maybe a better way for me? Right? Because the way I work is that I'm like, what's going to work for you? I'm going to give you, I'm going to say, this is what you're looking to do. I'm going to give you options. I'm going to say, what feels good for you right now? And we work on that. And we work on that until you're ready to move on to the next thing. And if it's more than 6 weeks, so be it. Right. But I challenge all of my clients to be curious about if things were going the way that you wanted them to, you and I wouldn't be having a conversation. So be curious about something that's something that's different. Not radical, but just something that might be a little bit different than what you're doing right now. And then from there, have the courage to be like, you know what? I need to lean into it. It's going to feel scary and scratchy. One of my clients says about change, and she says that changes for her is like, having sand in your bathing suit. You know how uncomfortable sand in your bathing suit is? Yeah, that's what sometimes we might have to get. We have to get like sand in our bathing suit uncomfortable. The other thing that I would love to see you break free of is fasted workouts. When I first started doing fitness competitions, that was the rage. You had to do fasted cardio. And literally, the studies on this, there's really the studies are showing that there's really no edge. There is absolutely no edge to you doing fasted workouts. Instead, we have to decide how our body needs to be fueled. And I know some people are like, oh, if I work out on a full stomach, it's like trying to decide what that full stomach looks like for you. I'm not asking you to wake up and have this, 3-course breakfast. I'm saying right now, if you get up and you just go and you just drink water before you go, what if you try to have 2 bites of a protein bar and see what your results would look like? What if you had put some creatine in your water while you're working out, some BCAAs in your water while you're working out, some electrolytes, right? How would that change your workout? And I say that because, especially for those people who are intermittent fasting, I ask you, could the shift of how you eat happen differently? So right now, most people intermittent fast and they start eating in the afternoon. What if we changed it around? The goal is to give yourself a bigger window of not eating. So what if you started your intermittent fasting in the afternoon? So what if you stopped eating at 3 o'clock and you focused your eating earlier in the day? And I say this because, I have clients who are night shift workers, right? They're not showing up to work till 11 o'clock at night, 7 p.m. at night. and they're working a 12-hour 7 to 7 shift. And so for them, they're scheduled a little bit off, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be that you have to start eating at like 12 in the afternoon. It's just a matter of having bigger breaks between your meal. So just something to kind of like think about, right? Like here, I am a rule breaker, but I remember I talked about you got to have the courage, be curious about doing something a little bit different. And I want you to, if you're someone who's like doing intermittent fasting or doing some not work eating before you work out, talk to me about your results. Are you getting what you want? If you're getting what you want, I'll shut the hell up. But if you're not getting what you want, here's where we get a little bit of curiosity here, right? And courage. The other piece is being macro or calorie obsessed. Both of them count. Yes, both of them matter. However, we have to start saying, thinking that if I meticulously track every gram of food that goes in my mouth, that's going to be the answer. Now, I do believe you have to track. Do you have to track so fastidiously? No. Where most people fall off the track when it comes to calories and macros. One is that they don't track every piece of food that goes in their mouth. They don't really measure the food that goes in their mouth. There are quality of food. Maybe they eat out a lot, so it's really hard to really track, engage when you eat out. Excuse me, when you eat out a lot. I had a client who was an accountant, and of course, she had a balance to the penny. That's just what accountants do. And she would be like, I would be overlooking her food journal, and she's like, I had 5.25 almonds. And I was like, 5.25, that's kind of a weird number. I'm like, 5.25. I'm like, do you really mean 5.25? And she's like, well, I needed that quarter to balance the fats. And I was like, well, damn. All right. So that's one of the ways I kind of started or stopped really getting into like meal plans, because it was just getting into people's heads. And so I want you to start thinking about, looking at your plate and prioritizing whole nutritionally dense foods. So, focus in for many people who struggle with tracking. I'm like, can we track protein and fiber, right? Because I know protein is very satiating, and I know fiber is very satiating, especially for us ladies over 40. I know that having a lot of protein in our diet, and I'm not talking supplements, I am talking like from a knife and fork meal source. Supplements are nice. Like if you are like getting, ideally, everyone should be getting at least 20 grams or more of fiber. Now, if you're someone who's getting like 15 grams, if you were to take a supplement and you are consistently getting 15 grams outside of supplementation, different conversation. But if you're like, I only eat peppers and onions for vegetables, then I'm going to be like, so there's no fibrous vegetable that you like. Because why we want fibrous vegetables? One, it helps us to poop, right? The more I poop, the more I'm able to get toxins out of my body, especially the solid toxins I'm able to get out of my body. The primary toxin that I want to get out of my body, estrogen. If I have a lot of estrogen circulating, that makes me puffy. That makes me look water retention, and I just want to get that out of my system. So ideally, you're getting at least 25 grams of protein, 25 grams of fiber from fruits and vegetables. The fourth shift here is just, let's break up with fat loss, right? When I first started in the industry, that was it. I was a fat loss coach. Yep, I will admit it. Fat loss, fat loss, fat loss. That was what I did. And it's time to start to like get out of that narrow focus of I must lose fat and really look at the bigger picture. And one of the reasons why I was looking at the bigger picture is that, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I started this maintenance program, and it was because I didn't know how many calories it took for me to eat, to just live my life. And for so many years, I ate in this small bubble. And I see a lot of women including my clients, eat in this bubble. And so the question is, can you expand that bubble just a little bit? And when you expand that bubble just a little bit of calories, can we then get a little bit more results? Because if my body, making this number up, because you know I don't do math, if my body is consistently used to eating 1,500 calories, and my body's like, I know exactly what to do with that amount of fuel. Think about it as putting gas in your car, right? Like my car is like, I know exactly when I'm full. Those 1,500 calories, I put it in, I know how many miles I'm going to get out of those 1,500 calories. Now, imagine I gave it 1,800 calories. Now my body's like, whoa, I got a little more food here. Ooh, maybe I have more energy. Maybe I'm sleeping better through the night. Maybe my lifts are off the freaking charts. We don't know. But it's only for a little bit, right? So it's only for a little bit. And if you've listened to my podcast for a while, you know that I'm really big into being seasonal with your nutrition. And it's more than changing the types of produce that you eat, right? I know I have some clients who are like, oh, you eat more fruits and vegetables, change your fruits and vegetables by the season. Great. If that's what blows your hair back, Sarah, rock on. However, what I'm talking about is looking at where we are in our life. Is this a season that I am not traveling and I could just be like, I just want to focus on my lifts. I want to focus on quality food, and that's where I am. Or dang, I am here, there, and everywhere. I can't really focus in on that. So I'm going to shift how my nutrition and my workouts are. Then I'm going to be in another phase where I can open it up a bit, right? So it's like, as we go through life, looking at our life and like ebbing and flowing, very similar to a professional athlete, right? So if you're a professional athlete, if you are a football player, right, your season lasts roughly from August through January. That's the season. So during that, I am not making a lot of changes because every week I'm being asked to perform on the field. Now, January comes, season is over. So as we start to get into my off season, February and March is going to be the climb of adding in more intensity, adding in more nutrition to my body. And so that I can add more lifts, get stronger, get faster, whatever it is that I want to work on in that off season, so that by the time we get into like May, June, I'm at the peak of my period, if you will. And then we can start to say, okay, how are we feeling? And start to say July, June, July, start to taper things down to get us ready for the season. And that's what I want you to look at in your schedule. Like, where are you traveling? Like, or maybe it's about your time. I talk about a client who's an accountant. So pretty much from the February 1st through May 1st, her time is in her own. So we have a different thing that we work on during the busiest period. Another friend who her son is an elite basketball player. So she's pretty much from October through May, she's like, carting him here, there, and everywhere. So that's what periodization looks like. So instead of us always being like, I'm on a diet, I'm on a diet, I'm on a diet, from time to time, at least I'd say 2 or 3 times a year, opening up our calories, giving ourselves more food so that we can then pull things back a little bit and see what's going on. And that's not something I recommend you do on your own. I highly recommend that you have someone to help guide you with that, because I will tell you, I'm going through that right now. And there's plenty of times when you get to what I call the squirrely stage. That's very, very technical. The squirrely stage where you want to just pull the plug. You're like, fuck it. It's too much. And you can't. You have to like have someone who can see you through that squirrely period where you just want to pull the plug and just like not have anything to do with that. The fifth thing here is relying solely on supplementation. I can't even just describe, going through my feed on my phone, how many supplement companies are like geared towards, if are you perimenopausal, are you bloated, are you this, are you that, so forth. And I want to say supplements do have a role. However, you can't out supplement you. You don't, let's let go of the idea that you need a whole cabinet full of supplements. They are helpful. Yes, 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 they are helpful, but they will never replace knife and fork meals. And yeah, someone will come back and be like, Kim, our soil is nutritionally bankrupt. Agreed. I am never going to not agree with you. However, what I'm saying is that a supplement is what it is. A supplement, a support. It's kind of like your car. Your car needs gas, or your car needs you to put gas and oil in it in order for it to run. The gas is the fuel. The oil is the supplement. I don't put oil in my car every day. I put oil in my car, I don't know, every 3,000 miles, but I put gas in my car probably every 200 to 300 miles. So do you see are you picking up what I'm putting down? So I want you to think about, if you are taking a zillion supplements, I want you to really start to figure out, like, what are they doing? And I'm not counting protein powder, because I know for many of us, that is such it's a way for us to get to our protein goals. However, if you're looking at your number of meals that you eat, and the bulk of your meals to get your protein up are coming from a protein powder or a protein bar or some other type of protein supplement, I want you to figure out, can we take away one of those things and add in a knife and fork replacement? Because for most women over 45, I feel that there's only a handful of supplementation, unless you're working under the guidance of a general practitioner or a functional medicine person. But for most people, a good quality vitamin D tablet, a multivitamin, magnesium, and a probiotic. And I'm not talking yogurt, a probiotic. Those are the 4 supplements that most women can get away with, right? Now, if we're working with someone else that has different things, there are some finite tunes, but like for the masses, that's pretty much it. And the last one here, and this one is going to be tough this was going to be tough for many of you, and I'll admit it. This was a tough for me. Surrender, 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 and then surrender some more when it comes to your food. Release the idea that there are good foods and bad foods out there. Like there are none. There are foods that I eat more of, and there are foods that I eat less of. Because once you put a food on the forbidden list, girl, that thing pops up all the time, and you will overeat it. And I remember I used to do a fitness camp for competitors every year, and the women there would romanticize peanut butter, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, peanut butter! Oh my God!" And I was like, "You can't make out with peanut butter. Like, peanut butter is not, like some pop star, some like amazing pop star that you think is like so like, oh my God." And we romanticize food, and the more we romanticize food, the more we put food on a pedestal, the more when someone says, "Hey girl, that food is no longer for you," you're like, "Oh my God," you're dying on the inside. So I want you to start to find a way to like embrace that moderation. And I've done several podcasts. I'll write myself a note. I've done several podcasts all about moderation, and the big key to moderation is not to romanticize our food and just to find a way to enjoy food in a balanced approach without guilt or restriction, especially now, as like holidays approach, right? We're like, oh my God, it's a holiday. And so, I must have all the things. And, you know, one of the big things in my belly fat course we talk about is decisions and choices. That's one of the big modules we work on. And it's like, sure, I want you to go out and go on vacation, enjoy the holidays with your family, enjoy your birthday, enjoy your kid's birthday. Absolutely. But every single day, every single weekend can't be, well, special occasion. Well, Sharon was having a bad day or I was having a bad day. Like we have to start to own our choices, right? Own our choices and kind of get a little bit more judicious with them. Not saying no, but also not being like, going into the fuck it spiral, and really start to ask ourselves like whatever it is that you love, does it bring you satisfaction? Right? Because if it doesn't bring you satisfaction, maybe there's another path to satisfaction. Maybe there's another path to satiation other than the foods that you are choosing. So, ladies, one of the things that I always want to bring with you is that I want you to be able to have the physique that you want. But I also want you to know that you don't have to like white knuckle your way to that physique. That there is a path, there is a way to create what I call the reps, a way to create a realistic way of eating that you are excited about what you're eating on your plate. You're excited about your workouts. You look forward to your workouts. That you can make a plan for this in your life versus your life revolving around food and workouts. And finally, it's sustainable so that you understand what consistency looks like. And it's not something like, oh, I can only do this for like 1 or 2 weeks before like I just can't anymore. Or I want you to think about what can I do that is more than a 6-week program, a 30-day program. Like this is your life. How can I be like, if I am 40 right now, could I eat this way at 50? Could I eat this way at 70? And with my approach, yes, you can. And if that's something that you really, really want in your life, let's have a conversation. Shoot me a DM or reach out to me, hello at kimbarnesjefferson.com. All right, magic makers, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk next week.